Jean-Baptiste, one of the most exciting things, I guess, we've seen from Roederer in recent years is this move away from the old style of non-vintage to what you're calling multi-vintage, the collection wines. Tell us why you made that move and what it means, what lessons we should draw from that.
Yes, we have done that move. In fact, this is the last move of a series of adaptation we have done on all the vintage, and we had to rethink also our non-vintage. First, what is a non-vintage? A non-vintage, or what is a non-vintage at Roederer? Our non-vintage Brut Premier was launched in 1986. This is a child of the 70s. 70s was so hard a decade with lots of difficult vintages, except 76 and beautiful 79, but 72, 73, 74, 75, 77, and 78 were very complicated. So at that time, we were picking late October, unripe, and rotten grapes often. So we had to create this non-vintage category that was correcting. In fact, the idea, the philosophy was to correct the most recent harvest that was difficult. Now we are not anymore in the same conditions. We have great vintage. And what was the difference between non-vintage and vintage in the 70s, which was ripeness and healthy fruit? Now we have healthy fruit and ripe fruit. It's vintage definition. So we can make vintage of all wines. And it came to our mind in 2000, or in front of our eyes, in 2002, which was a fantastic vintage. Each plot, each tank was absolutely fantastic. And when it came to make the non-vintage Brut Premier, we had to decrease the quality of the wine. In fact, to reach the target of Brut Premier and not to create the best possible blend. So that was, for us, the first realization that we had to change, because we cannot, for a winemaker on my team, to say we decrease the quality and we don't make the best possible blend doesn't make sense. It's not motivating. So that was the first idea. We have to change something. And then we have to find how to change it. And we have built this idea of Réserve Perpétuelle and Solera and so on and so on. So but it took time to create this idea. And what is a multi-vintage for me? This is exactly what I said. Great years, ripe fruit, expressive years, expressive fruit. So we use the power of a multi-vintage to make something that, a wine that should have the ambition to be as good as a vintage.
So you want each collection edition or each iteration of collection to be different from the previous one?
Yes, to be different and to be true to the vintage, to the last vintage. And we have to be, there is no way, and this is all for a chef de cave, it's a great frustration, why the multi-vintage should be on the same quality as a vintage. The difference is a place, a year for the vintage, or a year first, but a place for us, because it's both a place and a year. And the multi-vintage is the addition of multi-years. But the quality should not be entry level, or the ambition is to be as good as a vintage in a different category of easier to access, rounder, fresher, maybe not as powerful as a vintage. But we have to be as ambitious as we are as a vintage. So this is the whole philosophy of creating a multi-vintage instead of a non-vintage. I don't know if it's as clear in English, but in French, non millésimé means not interesting. Why should be? It's a negative it's a negative word. No.
I think it's probably less negative in English because everybody just said NV and nobody really knew what it meant.
But in French, it's non millésime. It means it's not something. Multi-vintage is multi-something. And I think it changed the ambition of quality and making every iteration or edition blend different. I think it offers also a new dimension to the consumer, and the new generation is very looking after that. I think a transparency. Now we say on collection 243, you know exactly what's in it. We give it through the app. You get the information of how much Réserve Perpétuelle, how much Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, how much reserve wines, and from one to the other one, it changes. While before, Brut Premier, it was the same blend, the same formula, the same Brut Premier. So we think we are closer by doing that. It was a big risk to do it in business point of view because Brut Premier was very, very, very well received and one of the best non-vintage. And to go away from a successful brand to a new brand was quite risky in a way, but I think the family thought it was a good moment to do it, to update our philosophy and to get, in a way, collection closer to the rest of the range. Brut Premier was another wine. Now collection is like the vintage. So we have the same ambition, the same philosophy, the Roederer philosophy.
Something else that's very much in the Champagne zeitgeist now is origins and cru and even vineyards. And I think we really have the leading growers to thank for that, putting it into the everybody's champagne perspective, that these things exist and that they matter and that they can deliver character and authenticity, which are qualities that drinkers are increasingly looking for. So how are you going to incorporate that into the Roederer family sooner or later? Can you give us any tips or hints?
Yeah, tips, I'm not sure I can give tips, but what I have done is, for example, we really worked on that over the last 20 years. Our Blanc de Blanc, for example, had become a blend of Cramant, Avize, Ménil, sur Roger. And I look at the archives, and the first idea of the family when we created our Blanc de Blanc in 1930 was Avize. So now I'm back to Avize. All our Blanc de Blanc now are not single vineyard. This is 4 plots in Avize. So this is single village. I've done the same. I'm doing the same now with the vintage, which was Montagne de Reims, a bit of Verzenay, Verzy with a bit of Chouilly. Now, Verzy. So all our vintage category, which is Blanc de Blanc, Rosé, and Brut Nature, which is 100% Cumière, single vineyard, large vineyard, but single vineyard. I'm refocusing each vintage wines on its village, on one village. It's a series of plots in the village, but I think this is our strength, to build the village identity and the real identity by many plots instead of being one single vineyard. And then there is the next level, which is the crystal level, which is more than for me, it's even more precise than the village or the single vineyard. It's soil, chalk. So this is 45 plots, which are the chalkiest plot of Champagne. This is even more pixelized because you go from the village to the soil. So this is different village, but one kind of soil which is unique to Champagne. And this is the strength of Cristal. So I have refocused all the wines and Cristal as well. You know, I redesigned the estate to keep only this chalkiest, really top soil, chalk soils. After lots of soil pits analysis and so on. So I think we have done our share of refocusing. We have added to this refocus our farming. Now Crystal is all organic biodynamic organic certified with biodynamic. Blanc de Blanc the same. Brut Nature, it's organically, biodynamically certified. So we have not only chosen the village of soil, but we have the practice, which is haute couture practice. And last but not least, which is to come now, and that is already coming, this is the massal selection that we have revisited 20 years ago. We have put them in collections. We have redeveloped them. We have 160 different Pinot Noir coming from our old pre-clonal vineyards. So they have been in Champagne and making Cristal for 150 years. And this is our own material now. Not only we have our Pinot Noir, our Chardonnay, our Meunier Massal selection, but we also have our own rootstocks. So we cultivate our own rootstocks. So all the material planted on those soils or villages is top of quality, the top quality. So good farming, top quality genetic material, soil selection of soil. I think we can. Next step would be a single vineyard. It's coming.
Interesting. Okay, that's fascinating to know. And of course, all of this quality has resulted in ever higher prices being achieved for your wines, notably with the top wines, where the prices have sort of rocketed in recent years, to the extent that this has now become a sort of investment wine category. How do you feel about that?
I think it's my feeling is diverse. Is that there is a lot of work done. The choice we have made of organic haute couture, winemaking, plot by plot, fermentation, and so on, has a cost. And the cost is not going down. It's even going high with the energy and now it's what's happening. So the costs are increasing massively. So, and also, we must admit that Champagne, as in the world of wine, is the cheapest wine of all. If you look at Burgundy, the price are now, the top Burgundies are very expensive. Bordeaux are super expensive. Champagne, as we explained in our discussion, is that it's a lot of work. It's 7-8 years of work, you know.
So you feel you're just catching up, actually?
I think we are taking a share of it, and because it costs a lot of money to make champagne, and it's a lot of work. So at one point you have to find the right ratio where you can maintain this idea, this ambition of making the best possible wines, and you need to develop the business as well.
But do you think those wines will end up with the most appreciative consumers in the end?
Does Romanée Conti
Indeed
ends up in the most appreciative consumers? It depends. If it's you and me, the most appreciative consumer, it's too expensive, yes, sometimes.
Perhaps it's just a fact of life.
I think it's a fact of life. It's a fact of, I think it's, we have many moments of tasting where we can catch those wines in a way. I think we are drinking less and less. At least I think I'm drinking less than before. But each time I'm drinking as good as I can. And my quality of drinking has improved a lot. It's more expensive, for sure, but I drink less. And I think maybe this is the direction we are taking for food and wine in general. Eat less, drink less, but what we eat or what we drink must be of top quality.